For far too long, the peace-loving people of Cameroon, the parents, the mothers, and the caregivers, sponsors, have cried out for opportunities to be given for their children to be recruited at the different state institutions or private institutions. And this has caused the effect to what is known as a matricle syndrome. And the aspect of entitlement is fast gaining ground in Cameroon, as many who go to school believe that at the end of their schooling, they should be able to have a government job or should be able to work in an office which they would earn a salary of more than 300,000. To what has been captioned entitlement syndrome. And this syndrome is quite common when you move to the secondary schools and also to some state and private universities. The commentary that comes out from the students in those institutions are appalling. In fact, when you get to the secondary schools and the high school, to be more precise, the students will tell you they have just two goals in life. One, to have their ordinary and advanced level certificate. The second thing is to write the government concours to have a matricle, and that those with matricle have well-paid and secure job and cannot be fired at any time. And this has metamorphosed into the PhD level, where those who have the PhD believe that the government has the obligation to employ them, and to what Minister of State, Minister of Higher Education, Professor Jacques Famendongo, called the entitlement syndrome, and warned that universities must look for new ways to empower their students to have and to become job creators and not job seekers, as other nations have been able to do. But many parents are worried that this educational system, the curriculum, is designed towards making these students to think that they are entitled to what they should be given, because at the basic level, some of the activities that used to make these students to have the mentality of entrepreneurship has virtually been stripped off. In fact, when we get to the primary school level, there used to be something that was called a handwork, where the primary pupils are compelled to come up with innovations and activity and things that can be able to be used, such as produce brooms, such as produce chairs, such as produce things that are tangible, that can be marketable, in which can serve a purpose within the community. And when you go down to all the villages, it will be common to see where students every weekend go to the farms, go to the bushes to see how they can come up together with something that can be able to give them a motivation or an innovation which they will be applauded in school. And that is why it is often common to see the students in those days to come up with sift, or to come up with something that can be used to produce a cocoyam, or something that can be used to sweep the house, or a chair, or something else. But these days it has been replaced with monetary value, where secondary schools at the end of the day demand that these students, or primary schools rather, demand that these students should come with money, and so therefore they are forced to pay their handwork, and the creativity aspect is no longer there. There's also what we used to call the domestic science and the royal science, where the students will go and learn how to make other things. For the ladies will learn how to cook, the guys will also learn how to cook, we also learn how to braid hair, and also how to knit things and all the like. But these days it's no longer there. It is common to see our primary school people just go to school, read the book, and go to the secondary school level. The secondary school level on part is also not left on this barren and this charade. We used to have something that was called the manual labor, which was composed from first year, second year, third year, fourth year, and fifth year, where every Friday, depending on the day allocated by the school, the students will be able to go to school and go to the farms and work and clear the grass, and also come up with something that they can be creative. And this is no longer there. Our universities, on the other hand, are also moving towards reading and center, in which Professor Bernard Fallon, in his book titled The Genuine Intellectual, which stated that a university without library, without research facilities, is more of a glorified secondary school. These days it is common to have universities without library, without research facilities, as in fact when you move down the street of Moliko, which is supposed to be a citadel of higher education, you will be shocked by some of the things that you will see in some of our so-called professional institutions. And therefore Professor Bernard Fallon should be worried in his grave that these are things he wants that university without research facilities are more of glorified secondary school. And this syndrome is also in some state universities where professional programs that ought to have professional machines don't have these professional machines. And we expect the youth to meet up with the 21st century. All this cacophony is happening at the time when the Cameroon government is worried about the future of the youth. On the 27th of April 2023, the President of the Republic, His Excellency President Paul Biya, signed a decree devouring powers of the secondary education to the level of the region. The regions have the power now to look at how they can manage some affairs of the secondary education. Before, it was at the Ministry of Higher Education, Secondary Education, where some of these things were being taken into. But now the President of the Republic has signed a decree giving powers to the secondary educational level back to the level of the region. And these are cries that many Cameroonians have asked, that things like this should be done not only at the level of the secondary level, educational level, but all ministries should be effectively decentralized. And we are looking at this because it is coming within the context of accelerated decentralization. At least this decree signed by President Paul Biya is going to help parents a lot, where PTA money have been siphoned in some quarters, where some unscrupulous principals will tend to have PTA chairman to siphon the fund under the guise of wanting to develop the institution. But this time the state has taken it upon itself to institute policies that will prevent this from happening and gives resources to schools to carry out projects and to develop projects. In all of this cacophony, we are asking the question now is, with this signed decree of Cameroon's President Paul Biya, will he resolve the issue of matricule syndrome? Will he give back the powers to the secondary schools to come up with curriculum that will not produce children who are entitled? This is House of Commons with me, Tah Mai Jarvis. Happy birthday to you, Lindsay, former student at the College University of Boya, who is now engineer Lindsay. Happy birthday to you. I know you celebrated your birthday recently. That was on Saturday. I want to wish you a very, very big happy birthday to you, and pray that the good God continue to guide you. Also, happy birthday to you, Joel. Happy birthday to you, Joel, Engineer Joel, who is also a former student of the College University of Boya. He celebrated your birthday together with Lindsay. I want to pray that the good God should continue to guide you, Joel, as you celebrate your birthday, as you celebrate your birthday. So it is a belated happy birthday that I'm wishing it to you, because at the time you celebrated, I was not on air, and so I'm using this opportunity to wish you too, Lindsay and Joel, a happy birthday and many more years to you as you continue your endeavor in the engineering field. May the God guidance continue to be with you. Here in the studio, we are joined by two fine gentlemen who are going to dissect the recently signed decree by Cameroon's President Paul Biya, who gave the devolved powers to the regional level as far as that is concerned. And we're also looking at the proprietor of higher education. How ready are proprietors of higher education to enable government professionalization policy of higher education? We have heard songs of professional institutions, of these institutions singing that they are professional, but are they really professional? Because as you got in my editorial, lots of research facilities are not present in most of these institutions, including some state universities, to be more precise. And we're asking the question, how ready are they? In the studio here with us, we are joined by Mr. Kimbang Vitalis, sympathizer of the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, who happens to be called by many as progressive. Mr. Kimbang, happy Sunday to you.
Happy Sunday, Jarvis. Happy Sunday, my co-panelists. It's my pleasure to be here once more. I want to say happy Sunday to all the televiewers who are watching us out there, especially to that comfort efficiency who are watching us on Bamenda.
Thank you very much. And We're also joined by Nick Anu, who was here last edition to continue this series. Unfortunately, we will not be having Engineer Dixon because he called me at the just few minutes ago that he will not be able. He has unforeseen circumstances, and also Professor who was supposed to join us, Professor Innocent, was supposed to join us. We want to apologize for them not being here. So we want to also say happy Sunday to you, Nick Anu. Thanks for joining us.
Happy Sunday to you, Jarvis, and happy Sunday to all the televiewers watching us across the globe. A special happy Sunday to Reverend Father Siri Lobe of the Diocese of Manfi, and we look forward to discussing the educational plight of our country, and our hope is to propose meaningful solutions in which we can advance the educational system of our country. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nick, and these are the gentlemen with whom we are going to have a conversation. You can follow the conversation, or you write to us on the numbers on your screen. If you have a contribution as far as this is concerned, I will just take the communique signed by Cameroon's President Paul Biya briefly, so that you can get to know what we shall be discussing on our second topic. This communique reads, mindful of the Constitution of Cameroon, mindful of the law number 08. Let me just go straight. Let me leave away the mindful. Chapter, the head of state hereby decree as follows. Chapter 1, general provision. Article 1. This decree lay down the condition governing the exercise of some power devolved by the state upon regions in the area of secondary education. Article 2. The power devolved by the state upon regions in the area of secondary education shall concern 1. Participation in the preparation and implementation of national school map in regions. 2. The construction, extension, equipping, maintenance, and upkeep of secondary and higher education in the region. 3. The recruitment and payment of support staff of the establishment according to available budgetary resources. 4. The purchase of the school equipment and supplies. The next, the distribution of award of scholarship and grants in secondary and high schools in regions. The next, representation within the management and dialogue bodies of government, secondary and high school. The last, support of council action in area of primary and nursery education. The third article, the power devolved by the state upon region in the area of secondary education shall be exercised in accordance with the regulations in force. Maybe our producer just put the second topic. We'll start with the second topic. The fourth is the region shall fourth chapter article, the regions shall exercise the power devolved in the area of secondary education without prejudice to the following state prerogative and responsibility, which is 1. Formulation and implementation of national secondary education and teacher training policy. The next, preparation and implementation of national secondary education roadmap, preparation of laws and regulations relating to the condition of the creation, upgrading, extension, opening, and the functioning of schools. The next, moral and civic education, moral, civic, and intellectual training of school-age children, as well as identification of needs in terms of support staff and teachers. The next, definition and adoption of national education and training program, objective, and general guidelines. The next is preparation of curricula, including training plan, program, and content. The next is the approval of textbook and other teaching materials. The next is organization of national examination and competitive examination and award of certificates in the education sector. The next, preparation of the timeline of activities and education sector of national established statistical campaign. The next, establishment of the main indicator of the educational sector. The next is the dissemination of the national statistic yearbook of education. the chapter 2 of that article, which was signed by Cameroon's president, that is participation in the preparation and implementation of national secondary education roadmap, which article 5 reads, regions shall participate in the preparation and implementation of national school map at a regional level through 1. Opinions on the creation, upgrading and extension of secondary and high schools, as well as development, upgrading or implementation of the level of the secondary schools. The next, which is signed by the head of state under article 5, reads proposal to update, modify armed schools map in regions. The next is the expression of teaching and teaching staff need a regional level. Under the chapter 3, which article 6 reads, chapter 3 has construction and extension of equipping, maintaining and upkeep of secondary education and higher education. In article 6 it reads that regions shall ensure the construction and extension, equipping, maintenance and upkeeping of secondary and higher education within the territorial jurisdiction through management of project construction and extension and maintenance and rehabilitation of educational facilities, including classrooms, workshop, specialized rooms, administrative blocks, infirmaries, official accommodation, playground, and latrines. The next, the installation and development of functional water and electricity supply facilities, the creation of schools, garden and canteen, the provision of educational facilities with formula and equipment, with furniture and equipment. The next is implementation of all necessary measures to ensure safety and hygiene and sanitation in schools. The next chapter, which is chapter 4, reads the recruitment and payment of supplies. Under this, it talks about article 7, support staff in secondary and high school shall comprise workers responsible for performing routine non-teaching tasks and any part-time teacher recruited on the basis of employment contract. Regions shall, as when necessary, recruit and put support staff at the disposal of secondary schools, secondary high schools within the territorial jurisdiction. Chapter Article 9, regions shall pay salaries of support staff, and which is chapter 5 now, purchase of school equipment. And so therefore it is quite very long. Begin with you, Mr. Vitalis. You've heard the decree, you've read through the decree. I sent the decree to the group so that people can look at it. This is decentralization. Many people are saying that the head of state is actually walking the talk about decentralization.
Yes, Jarvis, they say half breed is better than none. So when something is good, we say it's good. So we have been crying for decentralization for a very long time, and if this one has come, though it might not be enough, but it's good that we first of all appreciate it. Say no, they have tried. It's not everything that when the state does we condemn. We might not be very satisfied with what is happening or what they have done, but I think that the little that comes, we appreciate and wait for more to come, because it would what sometimes when I listen to people talk, I just feel bad, because people say every day we come to a forum like this and we rain abuses on the government, we rain abuses on the CBDM and all sort, but now is saying bad things about the CBDM or the government is not something that is new. But what can we individually manage to harvest from this regime which we consider bad? Because it does not pay us if you come every day and we sit and talk, say the government is bad, the CBDM is bad, and we rain abuses, we go the next day, we prepare more abuses to come and rain on the government. So I think that people should be thinking about solutions to the problem that we have at hand, because we keep on singing the same thing over and over, knowing that it's not going to yield fruits. Then we are making a fool of ourselves.
But the best thing is that we should be looking at ways. How can we solve our problem? Like what the government has just done. Yes, it's something that they have started. But we cannot just condemn them that no, since what we needed that should be in that decree has not come in, it means that it's bad. No. I think first of all we should welcome it. Then we say, okay, no, people have started well. Then we are expecting more to come. I think we go by that way. We will be helping to solve Cameroon problem, rather than every day we run abuses and we feel that this government, nothing can come from it. There is no government in the world that can live to the aspiration of everybody. No government in the world, even in the United States where everybody is looking at it as a heaven, people still have complaints. So I think that we can only join hands to see how we can move this country forward, because constant complaint and abuses can never solve our problem.
Okay, but many are saying that within this context, would it have, why is it taking so long? That, for example, that most people die before this decentralization is accelerated. They are laying the attribution to the fact that it is because of the pressure from the non-state armed groups in the northwest and southwest, and that why is it that people must sacrifice their lives before things like this are done. And they also draw their inspiration from the institution of the Cameroon's GC board, that most people always protest, like the GC board saga, and also democracy in 1990, reintroduction of multi-party politics, where we saw how people had to go to the street. And so they're asking that, why is it that in this 21st century, in our own constitution, signed in 1996 by us, and we don't respect it, that we have to take that long to implement it?
The truth is that most African states, they have a problem of respecting their constitutions. You know, why we look at America sometimes and we admire America is because their constitution is like a Bible, where nothing can be added, nothing can be subtracted. But it's so unfortunate that things are coming after people have died. There is a saying that if your child dies inside water, you will not stop drinking water because the child died inside water. It is very unfortunate. And we also regret the fact that these things are happening after people have died, after people have sacrificed their lives. It is regrettable. But it doesn't cancel the fact that when things come, we should welcome them. Because if we reject them, people will continue to die. So the little that comes, I think that we should welcome those things while waiting that more to come. But I want to say that I cannot condone with it that it is good that the government should wait until when people die in numbers before things can happen. It is just very, very unfortunate. And I want to plead with the government that the government should learn to listen to the citizens of this country. There is nobody that hate this country. Maybe people talk evil of this country because of what this country has done to them. I don't think that there's anybody that can say, no, I hate this country. I'm pleading that when people are given posts of responsibilities, they should do it in such a way that tomorrow they will give a good account of themselves. Because I always talk about love, loving each other, doing things that you like others to do to you. Because there's this tendency in Cameroon where some people, not everybody, when we talk about government, not everybody in the government is bad. Some people have been given posts of responsibilities, but the way they manage it, it's very questionable. So I think that if after people have died, which is very regrettable, and something is being given, we cannot reject it. Let's take it and wait for more to come.
Okay, Nick, your reaction when you read that decree, and also when you are looking at the fact that many from the ruling party are celebrating the fact that this is the head of state walking the talk about decentralization. Though we are talking about something that was the decree of a constitution of the decentralization signed in 1996, and we're looking at 2023, and some are celebrating the fact that the head of state is walking his talk.
Yeah, it is. It's not like it's walking the talk. We don't know the kind of machinery they use or what they see before they want to maybe implement decentralization that was earmarked since 1996, and they are calling it accelerated decentralization now. It is only those within the corridors of the government that understand all of these things, and we tend to blame the government because we kind of feel like we are stagnant while other nations are moving ahead. It's not like we do social criticism for the sake of criticism or to criticize the government. Sometimes we say we criticize the government to bring them, to put them on their seat, to remind them of their basic responsibilities, that they were voted to do these things for the people, and we don't find them most of the time doing it, and we see other nations doing their own and going ahead, and we are remaining behind. The fact that we say and condemn most of the government, the actions of these things, we are not saying that everybody within the government is bad, and we are sometimes directing our criticism to those bad seats within the government so that they can sit up and look at other nations. Most of them travel out for medical, for holidays and the rest. They see the good life that is out there, and they are afraid to bring it to their own nations. So sometimes we look at these things and they worry us, and we can turn and then just to criticize them. When I look at this decree of decentralization, many Cameroonians have been clamoring for decentralization until they are tired, and sometimes when the government ditch out part of it, they can just be happy about it. And to me, when I read this decree, it is not something bad in itself, because it is maybe going to the government is just doing its own thing progressively. To me, I was looking at it as an actor in the field. I know the kind of problems it is going to solve. For example, this decree, they are doing deconcentration of power from the state. The whole concept of decentralization in Cameroon is a problem on its own. But we as a nation, we understand that you cannot build a nation in one day or in 1 year. We know that nations are built from generation after generation. The mentality at the moment, the mentality of the rulers at the moment cannot really do the things we really want. And we can just maybe wait for their own generation to pass for another progression to come. So what they put in place maybe can come to solve some problems, like the devouring some powers from the state to the regional government. We don't want to look at it critically and analytically, because if you want to analyze it, you sit tend to criticize them. So sometimes we just accept it the way it is.
When you say you don't want to look at it analytically, because if you look at it analytically, you have to criticize them.
Yeah, but you have to criticize.
My question now to you is: so we should not be objective. We should not be critical, because we are afraid that we'll criticize them, they'll give us names.
No, not that they'll give us names.
Not think that okay because of the fact that they should not criticize.
Not that if we criticize them, nothing will change, as we have been criticizing them all this year.
No, but things have changed. He has been doing that, but things have changed. As I'm sure he came, there was a time that was 3 weeks ago, a month ago, he talked about the numerous country checkpoints in Bamenda. He also talked about the aspect of the custom, and behold, the cries were heard and it changed. Why do we say that nothing can change?
I'm saying the concept of decentralization. We look at it, the government is looking at the regional government as a state in a state. Because the constitution is clear. The constitution is saying that the other aspects of the state shall be taken care of by the regional government.
Yes.
But we don't see that. We look at it as the government is looking at the regional government as a state in a state. That they sometimes dish some powers to them for them not to be disgruntled, and so on and so forth. No. Of which their powers are coming from the people. So why can the government not just decentralize and give power for these people to take over and make mistake and learn. The government is just like taking these people like students, saying that no, let us train these people on this aspect, and after now we'll give a bit on this aspect.
So you are pointing that there will be a nuance between the regional education of secondary, the regional delegate of secondary education, as well as a regional council.
Yeah,
that there will be a conflict of interest.
There will be conflicts of interest, obviously. How? Conflict of interest, because there are some like this. To me, it's just like they are duplicating kind of functions. Well, the text of application of this decree, we have not read it, so we don't really know how the government has maybe analyzed how they are going to function. To me, I was like wanting to say that it's going to solve a particular problem. Problems of maybe corruptions within the secondary schools, problems of the principals, because in the past the principals were the ones managing all of these schools, but these powers have been removed from them. I hope have been removed from them and given to the regional government or the regional council for them to like manage the projects in schools and so on and so forth. Is going to maybe reduce this corruption. The issue of PTAs, I think it will be managed by according to this decree, my own understanding, managed by the regional government. It's like the PTA now will be, the budget will be sent to the regional government.
I'm not sure, which means that maybe I may be wrong on this, which means the parents don't have to be paying PTA, because that decree states that resources are going to be allocated for development, for payment of support staff, because it was a PTA before that pays support staff. Now they said, okay, support staff will be paid at the level of the region. The resources that will be
my fear is that people that are going to manage these things should be God-fearing people, because they will still be at the level of recruiting support staff. There will still be a talk of war at that level. People would like to take their relatives, who would like to take their relations, and there's still going to be a problem.
Obviously.
And so now some principals, knowing that they are not going to be benefiting much from because most of them, they benefit from the PTA and the rest.
Yes, and because you get to see the PTA chairman is a friend to the principal, and only them control the resources. So now, which means that the issue of PTA levy should not longer exist as from 2023-2024 academic year, because we are looking at the decade which is coming towards the end of the academic year.
Yes, I think if it's that way, it's going to be good, because the way the PTA money has been managed in most of the schools is a call for concern. So I think that if this one comes to solve the problem, it will be good.
I think the current Minister Nalova has done a lot of work concerning the PTA. She really fought until they had to put a fixed amount of money for the PTA, that I think they have an account they pay to eat and so on.
No, but it differs from schools.
From school to school, but there's some kind of sanity in that direction as compared to...
Yes, because I remember I went to pay a child's school fees in Lycée Bonaberi. I was given 2 accounts, pay this money into this account and pay this one into that account. So I was really doubting the other money that is paid into the 2 accounts. So, sometimes you observe those things and you just allow
So you are saying that there could be way which these principals have developed new means to bypass Minister Nalova's decree, because you say you were giving the 2 accounts. The 2 accounts, were they in the name of the institution or something?
No, they just give you a bank account. They say pay this one in school, then go and pay the other one at the bank.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. That the one that they asked you to pay in school.
They were,
was it the bossa?
Yes, there's somebody in charge of that who collects it. Then they will send you now.
They give you a receipt.
Yeah, they gave me a receipt. They send you to a bank. You go and pay in the bank. So there have always been means for teachers to, that when you look at the education field, it's one of the most corrupt fields in Cameroon. Although Nalova has been, Professor Nalova has been trying to bring sanity to it, because teachers are very tricky people. They will always look for means to bypass.
Not teachers, at least
teachers.
School administrators.
Yeah, teachers, because
teachers are not the most corrupt people in Cameroon.
No, because when I talk of it from the point of this issue of selecting textbooks, the government gave the
textbooks. Yeah, because also the issue of selecting textbooks is now in the hands, it's no longer in the hands
of teachers
of secondary education. Now at the level of the
even if the textbooks are selected from Yaoundé, teachers will come, they will draw a list of textbooks, then the one that publisher will come and give the money. They will take those ones to go and buy. They will still bypass.
Now, my nuance. You people are pedagogues. You are a publisher. You maybe explain the problem, then I'll ask my question.
The problem of book selection is at the level of the ministry. There's a
Yes.
book commission in charge of that.
Yes.
And
But
we can
the
talk
teachers
of-
respect those books that have been given from the ministry.
The teachers don't have anything concerning books now, as opposed to the past, because
So before they used to.
before some schools would take that list because
Before now, you still take a list and scrutinize.
Yeah, the issue is that now.
Even now, those who are making big money from books are those whose books are not been selected by the government. Those who come individually and give bribe to school behind, and the books are bought.
No,
They give
but
bribe to teachers, and the books are bought. Those books selected from Yaoundé, many students don't buy them.
No, the issue is I'm talking as an actor in the field.
He's the publisher.
I'm the publisher.
It's the publisher, but
Yes.
I'm talking as
I had to go to schools to market
Yes.
it.
We used to allocate, I'm sorry to say it, we used to allocate millions for what we call motivation, because we don't want to use the name bribe motivation.
No, that was in the
Okay.
past. I don't think in the past 2-3 years. I don't know.
No,
if you've seen it.
it's still operating now.
No.
It's still operating.
But I don't know. Maybe it's at the level of the primary school. I don't know much
You know.
concerning that. At the level of the secondary school, that I'm so much aware of it. I know what happens. The book list is defined from the ministry. There's a book commission that select books into those lists. What happens at the level of the ministries, we can talk of, because if I want to analyze the kind of books that enter the book list, that's where the real corruption happens. Because the books are not up
So
to
you are
standard.
saying that
No.
the
Yes.
corruption, no, let me
No,
come,
the
let me
books
come,
are- I'm
let me
talking
come.
out
So
of-
Nick, you are saying that, okay, the books that are in the book, they are not up to standard.
They are not up to
So are you
standard.
saying that the corruption begins from Yaoundé?
It begins from
That
Yaoundé.
select the books.
Yes.
And coming out to the region.
So-
But he is saying that even though, assuming that whatever you are saying is correct, but he is saying that even at that list, that Yaoundé sends a list, it gets to a school decides to keep away the Yaoundé list and come up with their own list per their teachers' prescription.
That
Is that what you are saying?
That is the truth.
No.
That is exactly the
That's what
truth.
I'm saying that now.
Even if they don't come out with another book list, they will come out with some pamphlet which they call it workbooks.
Yes.
That will be more important than the books that have been selected from Yaoundé, because a child will not sit in class without having those ones. And you see a pamphlet that can be printed for 250 francs, you can give a price tag of 3,000, and all the students are forced to buy it. I'm a living witness. I'm a publisher. I have children in secondary schools, and I've been suffering the effect. So I'm speaking from facts. I'm not speaking from my hearsay.
So now, let me take on this message.
We are see. I'm still saying that even though some schools may manipulate the book list from the ministry, I think the notion that Professor Nalova came up with, she came up with the book list, the books on the list, and their prices. And when parents go to school, they ask for this book list. The school that are owners will give you this book list from the ministry.
Okay,
And they don't sell books in school. They go to the bookshops.
Very good.
And those book lists are also found in the bookshops.
Good to say
Standard. Is that what is being practiced?
Good to say schools that are honest. Means that you are
Honest.
aware of the fact that
because
I'm not
schools
saying
are
that all
honest.
schools are honest.
Okay,
I'm saying that
Yes.
there are on the majority of. I'm talking from experience. Majority, even when you propose to parents that the books on the book list are not up to standard, they don't accept. Especially maybe the francophone parents that they are sending their children to the English subsystem. Anglophone parents, they too go through these books. You can go through the book list, the books that your children are using, and kind of know the kind of things that are inside,
Okay.
and don't want to buy that for your child.
Let's
Because to be honest, most of those books are not up to standard.
Even if they
Yes.
bring standard books from heaven, teachers will still complain that they are not standard books
because they are not directly
because they are not directly benefiting from the books. I've been a publisher in the publishing field for more than 16 years, and I know what I'm saying.
Okay, let's take on this message. Good day, Jarvis. There is a saying that we need strong institutions and not strong men. Cameroonians are tired of decrees signed in hiding. This is a clear indication that the Senate and the Parliament are toothless bulldogs whose policies are remote controlled by executive power. Ngole Hane from Limbe. This one right, it says good morning and happy Sunday to you, Mr. Jarvis, and your panelists. The decree you just read looks like the resolution of special status given to the afternoon the grand measure national dialogue. If the decree goes beyond the Anglophone Cameroon, then the entire country has been given a special status. I am Do Valentine Chawono from Mbo Bakundu. This one, it says, happy Sunday, nice program. Thank you very much. I did not sign in your message. This one, right? It says, good day and happy Sunday to you all. I think the government just acting according to what people want, because as other people are criticizing, it is what many has been asking for, because the government cannot satisfy everyone. So we should stop blaming government. I am Rachel writing from Yaoundé. Come back to you, Mr. Kimbang. Now, according to this decree,
Yes.
the regions will have the prerogative to select their books.
No.
I don't think so.
No. No.
To propose, because
No. Book selection will still be done in Yaoundé.
in Yaoundé,
Yes.
maybe we'll go back to the decree.
Yeah, go back.
I've read through the decree.
books.
The region is not in charge of pedagogy.
Yes.
If you read Article 3 of that decree, you'll see.
Because
Because if they allow the regions to
because I was about to ask a question, what of if the regions have the power to select to select books, would that not create confusion?
No,
Read Article 4 of that
confusion.
Because if you look at Article, I want to go back first to the general provision of Article 2. The general provision of Article 2 is that, let me see, the distribution, equipment, participation of, okay, the extension, let me, you say Article 4, let me get to Article 4.
Yeah.
Article 4 of this state, support staff, Article, no, that's Article 7.
Article 4. That's
Article 4.
Region
Regions shall exercise the powers. Regions shall exercise the powers devolved in the area of secondary education, without prejudice to the following state prerogative and responsibility. 1. Formulation and implementation of national secondary education and teaching training policy. Preparation and implementation of national education roadmap. Preparation of laws regulating preparation of laws regulating preparation of laws and regulations relating to the conditions for the creation, upgrading and extension and opening of secondary schools, establishment and control of standards for the construction, equipping and maintaining and upkeep of schools, recruitment and payment of recruitment and payment of secondary education teaching staff, moral, civic and intellectual training of school-age children, as well as identification of need in terms of support staff teacher, definition of adoption of national education and training programs, objective and general guideline, preparation of curricula, including training plans, programs and content, approval of textbook and other teaching materials, organization of national examination and competitive examination, award of certificates as far as in their sector.
These are the prerogative of the state, that I'm mentioning here.
Yes. So now, which means that even if this decree, it is also clear that the appointment of principals still remain in Yaoundé.
Everything still remain in Yaoundé. What the regional government is supposed to do is define here. They are supposed to participate in the management of the school.
Because if we look at in summary, it's just PTA that has been, in fact, it's just PTA. In a nutshell, what this decree answer is the cry of parents that their PTA money is not being used, they contribute money, so probably it's just answering the issue of PTA. Because if we look at it contextually, the aspect of appointment of principals is within the hands of the Yaoundé.
We may not really know the text of application because of current. You know that within the government secondary school, the principal is who manages the budget of the school fees that they pay. The principal manages and uses that money to buy material. But now, so maybe this will be taken to the regional government. They want to manage that particular money and so on. But now, and the principal will just be in charge of pedagogy and the rest.
I think meaning there will be no PTA chairperson.
I want to ask the question.
There will be no PTA chairperson.
Yes. That's the question I want to ask. That if we look at this decree, therefore means that Well, maybe there will be PTA chairman, but not from the level of financial. With that, like what we have in US,
Yes,
which is
the
the board of parents. Board, where parents come together and look at maybe how their children are being taught. Maybe how policies that have been taken in the school affect their children, and maybe if there are some policies that the school want to tell parents, call them. And as far as that, but it shows there still be PTA at the level.
PTA, but I think the finances,
but who would like to be in the PTA board when there is no finance? Because that is the core. That's the core. Because that is the problem with these big secondary schools. Those who are managing PTA levy in this lycée, they manage millions. And they will construct a small house for, let's say, 5 million, and they will write 50 million.
Yes.
So if you come that you are just there, PTA, no money. Why will you be campaigning to be a PTA chairman for?
So indirectly saying that PTA chairman should be angry with the head of state. very angry, because they were PTA chairmen in these government secondary school that were really eating fat from the PTA. Yeah. Look, PTA money is money that is nobody's money, as I can say it. Because as a single parent, you cannot go to confront them. They manage the budget and just come and reach it during the
end of year.
End of year, they reach it. Yes. Whether what they have read is correct.
They not control.
Yeah, whether they have read is correct or not, you accept.
That we spend this, we spend that, we bought this.
And in some schools where you bribe, you give money before your child is admitted, I think you will not have the voice to maybe argue. Because they might dismiss your child and you need to maybe chip in something before he comes in. So in the field of PTA, especially in these government secondary schools, many PTA chairpersons have been eating fat from it. That is the fact, that is the truth. They might argue that they are just there for the interest of the students. I don't think it is not. Because when you go to most of these secondary schools and you see projects that they have carried out, and you hear the budget, you really shed tears. That's why I'm saying that at our own level, we should try to have pity for each other. If you look at, let's say, PTA, and money is collected from poor parents, some few people manage the money and they chop it, and they are only pointing at President Paul Biya in Yaoundé. At your own level, you should be able to create a change. You should be able to. I'm a PTA chairman.
So you mean that you're affected also by this decree?
No, I'm not. I'm a PTA chairman with a different. You know that I've always stood for change. I always stood for change. I've always stood against corruption. I always stood against discrimination. So that's why sometimes when I'm in such places, people don't like it, because I will not do the things the way they might have loved it to be done their own way. But I want to plead that when we are giving any post of responsibility, even in the Njangi house, even the quarter Njangi that we drink, people who are president should be able to be exemplary. Don't just wait that President Paul Biya will come from Yaoundé and solve the problems for us.
And now I want to ask a question, Nick. If these powers now some powers have been sent to the region, who manages these powers? Because now we have the regional assembly. The regional assembly also has a power, because if we look at the regional assembly, their text of application, you look at the fact that they have the powers to look at the schools within their area, to define some of the policies too within their area, because they are charged by that level, maybe payment of support staff, recruitment of teachers at the regional. If we are looking at decentralization in essence, that what the regional assembly is supposed to do. So will there not be a clash between the regional delegate and the president of the regional assembly as far as this policy, regional day of secondary education and regional assembly, as far as this policy is concerned? How will this be reconciled?
I don't think they will really be clashed, because the regional delegations of secondary education, their role is pedagogic. Their role is not anything out of pedagogy. So they will not be clashed. And the role of the regional assemblies now, no, they are answerable to the ministry now. They are not answerable to the regional. They are answerable to the Ministry of Secondary. She's the one who appoint them. not the. I don't think there will be any clash between them and the regional assembly, because the regional assembly is in charge.
I still have a worry.
The regional assembly.
For example, let me give an example.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm in government secondary school, Jakiri.
Yes.
We want a support staff, and somebody is sent from Baminda to come and be a support staff in Jakiri. Would that not create, because
that's the next question I wanted to ask. I wanted to ask that question, because they will pay the support staff.
They will pay the support staff
that come to your school.
And normally, what they used to transfer is that they look around the town,
yes,
and pick some guys to come and give support to the school. But now that the recruitment will be done at the level of the region,
actually,
does it mean that the people will be recruited at the level of region and sent to go and be support staff in
the
those
regional government structure, right? The regional government have divisional authorities also. I think it should start at that level. You know, at the regional delegate, the regional council should be just like the highest of them.
Okay.
It should start at the division,
let's
let's
put it this way.
The subdivisional level.
Let's assume that a school need a support staff.
Yes.
And the government, we know how some of these schools have not been able to have government teachers across, especially newly opened government schools. Now, so they mostly rely on PTA teachers.
Yes.
Who will now be recruited not by the PTA money, because there's not PTA, but from the money that will be given by the regional level. Now, the school say, okay, we need 5 support staffs. The regional assembly says we don't have that kind of money to give the support staff. The school is in need. How do we strike this balance?
No,
since the principal is answerable to the regional delegate, and the regional delegate is answerable to the minister and not the regional assembly.
No, I think in the beginning of when you read this article, this decree, they are saying that they're supposed to draw their budget following the state budgets at the beginning of the year, seeing their needs. It is something that they are still just. This decree is just coming. I think
I've not understood what Jav is saying. He's saying that a school that was running with 5 support staff.
Yes.
Now, the regional council say we cannot pay the 5 support staff.
How would they say that?
Look at the budget. Without the budget.
No, the decree gives them the power.
No, there's a difference between power and having the budget.
No, if we go by that, they still look at the degree. There's still going to be much confusion, because some people say, okay, since it's the regional level paying it, we need 10 support staff.
Yes. We need 10 support staff, and they tell you that, okay, we don't have money for this support staff.
Yes.
Let's look at the number of schools we have across the southwest region. The Littoral in itself, the number of secondary schools we have, Douala in itself is so vast.
And how are they going to determine their competence?
There's another level.
That's another level, because I know very well that with the rate of corruption in Cameroon, some people will try to push in their own people who might not be very competent. So. Anyway,
to me, it is still something that they are testing, right? In the beginning, there will be a lot of problems. Obviously,
they are not coming back to what I'm talking about.
Obviously, there will be a lot of problems and confusions. Given the fact that these people will be the one to recruit, just at that level, there will be a lot of conflicts to recruit staff and send to this school, because the money they will be paying will be different. To me, I think it will be different from what the schools are paying.
It will be at least
higher.
Because before the PTA,
the PTA were paying 50,000 in government schools. That's their standard that they pay in government schools.
Maybe they will be given regional matricles.
Yes, that's another thing.
Because the law states that they will establish a contract conformity with the law.
Yeah. So to me, there will be a lot of problems. What will be the criteria of recruiting the support staff? What kind of training will they give support staff?
But at least it will be beneficiary to whichever support staff that will be recruited, because in terms of the payment now,
the payment will be
better as it
was. If they are going by according to the law, means they will pay you according to your certificate, which means that there will be no difference between support staff and somebody who has been trained from
teaching in the government school, because we are not looking at the private school still.
Yes, this private school will still be left out.
So which means that the PTA section now will not be dominant at the level of the private schools.
The private school don't talk up. They don't do PTA there. They just pay their fees.
No, they have PTA. No, they do. Some schools do.
Some private schools have PTA.
Like where I'm the PTA chairman, we pay some small levy to support the school, because our children are schooling there. And
what of the school fees you pay?
that is how I make
no,
it.
but the state, let's be honest,
Yes.
the state cannot provide all.
Yes.
And so therefore in areas where an individual, that's why they say the individual are promoters of
Yes.
education.
Yes.
They are not, the money you pay actually for tuition are not there to enrich the individual. They are to promote the educational facilities that you have. Because if you go by the standard that these guys private education are supposed to do, it will be so much. So sometimes it's been normal that you want a comfort of your child.
But sometimes when I pay this levy, I am disturbed because when you look at the amount of payment that is given to teachers and the lavish life that some of these proprietors live, it is a pity. Many of them, the way they treat some of these private teachers, it is they pay them not because nigger salary, not because they don't have money, but sometimes I see it as a form of wickedness. Because
Greed.
yes,
Some of it's form of greed.
yes. As I've seen schools where the people are being paid 60,000 francs and you are forbidden to carry out any extra classes.
Extra class,
Yes. So there is I want to think that government should do something. Government should.
The government has abandoned the private
Yeah,
sector.
the private sector. Yes.
And
they are manipulating
the way they
as
like,
they wish, which is not good.
which is not correct.
I think that government should really look into it.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's talk about some messages. Books, most books are not written by competent staff or seasoned and experienced teachers. The classroom teacher knows the challenges faced by their learners. Another thing is that the conflict between the ministry and the GC board is real. The GC board has its goals, while the ministry has its own. Schools are interested in making their learners pass exam. As such, teachers design books to make learners to pass GCE. Many books selected by the ministry are lame as far as certificate exams are concerned. Foso Jude writing from Douala. This one, right, it says without leaving, talking from Yaoundé. Good afternoon, sir. If the Cameroonian educational system promote practical session to theoretical, I think this will go a long way in solving the problem of unemployment, as these students will get acquainted to what they are doing. For instance, a carpenter after learning the trade for 2 years do not need an employer. This goes especially to the service sector without leaving out the universities aside. Thank you very much. That is coming from an anonymous sender. This other one, right, it says good afternoon to you all in the studio. Nice program. I think this issue of PTA has always been a major concern because most parents actually give their PTA and they don't enjoy their services. This one, right, greetings to you all in the studio. I have a worry concerning textbook recommended by the government. Some of these textbooks are of low standard and the government keeps changing books every year. Before now, a particular textbook can be used for over 5 years before the book can be changed. So I suggest such a system should be revisited. This is Kome writing from Kongsamba. Kome, thank you very much. This other right, it says good afternoon and happy Sunday to you all in the studio. I think the government is acting according to what people want, because as other people are criticizing it, it is what many have been asking for, because the government cannot satisfy everyone. We should stop blaming the government. I must agree with Mr. Vitalis that many textbooks used in schools are not the books on the book list, not up to 1/4 of the books and the books, not up to 1/4 of the books in the book list are used. This is Rachel writing from Yaoundé. This one, right, it says happy Sunday to you guys, nice program. I must say that the government is answering the call of PTA parents, but however, is it going to be for other ministries in Cameroon, like the ID card issue? Coming from an anonymous sender. We are now switching to the second topic. The second topic, we are looking at professionalization, in which we are asking the question, how ready are proprietors as far as this is concerned? I'm beginning with you, Mr. Vitalis, on this. Last week we talked about the professionalization of a higher education, and we asked a question, how professional are these institutions. And now you raised an issue about proprietors a while ago in your discourse, that proprietors are living a lavish life, whereas teachers are living miserable life. If you go across this, our higher education and also high schools, because the high school has a transition to higher education, when you look at some of the proprietors, are they really ready as far as professionalization of education is concerned in Cameroon?
Jarvis, there's something that you observed of late. Almost all the tall buildings in town, they have higher institute.
Yes, higher institute.
Almost all the tall buildings in town. Yes.
I was in my editorial, the proliferation of higher education.
So it's, I don't think that because when you look at the number of what they call professional schools, we are not seeing the impact of those who are graduated from the school in our society. Because people go to professional schools, they get finished. To see, ask somebody, what are you doing in a professional school? I'm doing entrepreneurship. He come out from school, he's moving with a file looking for a job. And people, so when I look at it, I begin to doubt, what type of professionalism are they really doing here? Because it just suffices for 2 or 3 teachers to gang up and say, okay, we have opened higher institute of this, marketing and what, they go and rent a building, and they say school fees 400,000, 500,000, and people are paying. Yes. So
yeah, because the fee for HND in most schools are 400 or something.
Yes, 400. Yes, 400. So I don't know whether government really sends people to assess whether they have the human resource, they have the how do you call it, the material resource, yes, to start up these schools. So it is really unfortunate, and I want to think that government should come in. As I said, government should come in and really see how they can regulate this issue of every tall building in town being a higher institute of management, higher institute of this, higher institute of that. Then those who have, but there are some good higher institutions in town, not all of them, because when you look at some really have what it takes to graduate a student who is ready maybe to create a job for himself or who's ready for the job market. But majority of them are just there maybe because they need money. So I think that it is high time government should come in and see how government can control these higher institutions.
Nick, how ready are these proprietors? When you move around, you talk with graduates, you have gone to a higher institution, you graduated in University of Boya. When you look at these things like that, how ready are we? We are talking about professionalization, and where people think that they should go and write an exam to have a job.
Yeah, the issue still goes back to the government who give these schools authorization to functions. And to me, I think the rate at which they give them authorization is so alarming, and I think there's a lot of corruption involved also. It's just like a kind of new open market now that people use it to get themselves rich, because you cannot explain the fact that somebody's just renting an apartment and is already having a higher institution there. You even see many of these big buildings, there are about 3 of them there. 3 different higher institutions
in one building. The first one takes the first floor, the second one takes the second floor.
So it is, to me, it is not solving the problem in which the government really started this sector. I think that was around 2000. Before that, before the 2000, there
1995.
Was
by 2010, we did not have this proliferation. We had the liberalization came from, by 2010 we had a bit of university, but now by 2016.
Yeah, that was
the worst is in Moliko.
I was in Bamenda the other day, and I visited one professional institution, and they have just published their results. I bet you the least person had a B+. A B+. I was asking myself, does it mean that once you come here, because I know that when we are in university, you go, you see people with C+, but here I went there, everybody is A+, A, B. The least person was a B. So most of the time you discover that once you pay your school fees, you will pass the HND and you will succeed in your degree. I don't think that there's somebody who when he goes there, he can repeat his degree program.
I don't
think so.
It's rare.
It's rare.
Yeah.
But once the school fee is paid,
Yes.
they will manipulate, and you.
They sometimes fail the HND because it's set for me. I won't.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, but we've heard
also
stories
close.
where they say HND is being bought. It's question that we have heard stories. I'm not saying I can. We have heard stories. But however,
we cannot
because-
do that.
Well, you see,
Yes.
because everybody, you see you go to any office now, you ask, what are you doing? No, I'm attending higher institution. Very soon, I don't get my degree. I don't get my NGT. Now, what are
The aim is
credibility
certificate.
of this
Yeah.
certificate?
Now, I want us to look at professionalization. We've looked at some of these proprietors keep saying that they are professional institution. Now, you made mention of the fact that when you go around, don't see some of these facilities. But how ready are them, taking into consideration that huge sums of money are being paid by these students, but you get to some of these institutions, you'll be appalling to see that they don't have state-of-the-art equipment to train these students. They see train the same way in which we have been condemning magical kind of students.
Yeah, I mean they are training. I think the higher institutions were created to solve particular problem in the job market, train people who are apt for the job market, but the focus has been shifted to training people just to have certificate. At the end of the day, they just want to have a certificate that have gone to school, but the practicality is not there. If you see, even at the level of internship, these students will spend more time doing internship because they are actually supposed to be train them how to do, not just how to read and write. The state universities are supposed to be maybe doing focusing on maybe people having certificate, but these particular higher institutions were kind of train children who can integrate directly into the job market and solve particular problems. But they are instead creating more problems of unemployment and joblessness in the society. And I think the government should come in strong. And as I was saying,
just blame the government. How should they come in?
I blame the government because they're the ones giving them authorization. If it's like if you go to the Northwest, before when this issue of higher institutions started, the likes of Payong, the late Payong, they were the ones who started these things in the Northwest. And if you go to his school, the National Polytechnic, he was one of the first there to open. If you go there, you see the University of Bamenda even borrow some of his classes to do their classes there. It means that he invests money. The state of, I don't know how it is now, but as of when I was there, I used to, the state of the campus was where to do. There were equipments. When you go to civil engineering, there were equipment, all these electrical, there were equipment, there were things there to really train students. And most of his students are in the job market, those in the past. I'm not talking of now, but when you look at what is happening now, it is something to cry. It is something appealing.
If somebody have a palo like this,
yeah. I noticed something when you go to Bonaberry. I noticed that you cannot move maybe 20 meters without seeing higher institution. If you are calculating the distances, you will hardly move 20 meters without seeing a building of higher institution, which is not supposed to be the case. The government should send control teams, put criteria.
No, I think
they are laid down regulations to create a higher institution. You are supposed to have a land. You are supposed to have a building. And once you have these things before, you are supposed to
you must have a playground.
Yeah,
your secondary school must have a good playground.
You are supposed to apply before they give you authorization to exist.
After having visited the
area
and
they evaluate before
and
they
see
give
maybe the type of equipment.
But it's not
before they give you authorization to function. But this case, they just give people authorization.
No. They still follow the procedure. But I want to come now to you.
No, but there's a lot of corruption
with the fact that some of our proprietors or would-be proprietors are kind of very dishonest. Because let's say you are on a control team, you have been sent to come and investigate, and they take you to a building. A space, you see everything is okay. Will you nullify?
No, the problem lies at the level of the delegates. That's a fact.
The Minister of
Higher Education have delegates. Now let's come because that's another problem. Because instead the higher education are represented by state universities.
Okay. Yes.
They are represented by state universities that act as a mentor university.
No. Even if we know what Cameroon is all about. That's why I was saying that people should be ready to do their job. Somebody can come and see the place. The place is not up to standard, and an envelope is exchanged. They give an envelope. He say no, the place is good. That is Cameroon. That's why we are.
Another thing is
because
another thing we need to
I don't
state lecturers in the state university. Most of these schools are created by them. Most of these modern schools are created by them, and they can manipulate the process because the state university are their mentor universities, so they can easily manipulate the process. And those who are coming to their colleagues. I was coming to that's where the problem is.
I was coming to ask you this because if we look at the fact for secondary education, they have a ministry.
Yeah.
For basic, they have a ministry and they have divisional. Yeah. But for university, before the authorization is given, there must be a state university that agrees to mentor you.
Yes.
And the report of the state university, and they are always also in the control team because they must give a report to the Ministry of Higher Education to show that, okay, this person have met the criteria for to be given a university, a permission to run an institute, because it is the state universities that vet all the exams of that vet all the exam of the university that they are mentoring. Yeah. For example, all these the private university must have a mentor university, which is a state university that indirectly act now as the regional delegation or the divisional delegation of higher education. That said, it reports straight to the Ministry of Higher Education. Now, if we are looking at this proliferation, who then should take the blame? Because most of this proliferation, they are mentored by state universities, and so their exams are vetted by state universities. The A and the B that are talking about are vetted and are scrutinized as seen it by these state universities.
That is why Nick is saying that some people who are sent to come and look at these things, they most of the time they are partners to those
those schools.
Those schools. Yes, they have invested. Maybe they want to invest too in that school, so they can approve anything.
Obviously,
yes, they can approve anything. So it is very, very difficult to say.
It is a systemic problem.
Yeah, it's a system. It's a system that is very, very difficult. Yeah, very complex. Because those who are coming, because that's a problem we have even in this issue of book selection. There are some people that are in the book selection committee that have decided to write books and send behind. Then yes, or they have decided to partner with those who are publishers. Then they come and present a book and they just approve.
Yeah.
So it is a very complex situation. So I don't know whom we can blame here.
Good afternoon, Jarvis, and thanks so much for this pertinent program with the objective to get positive change. Please, I try to draw the attention of GCA board concerning the quality of the 2020 GCA level certificate. It is very funny for students to collect their certificate and found their names peeling off the paper. Students cannot see their complete names because it peels off already before arriving their center. This is coming from my anonymous sender. I'll take this message again because it's quite very important. He says, good afternoon, Mr. Jarvis, and thanks so much for this pertinent program with the objective of getting positive change. Please, I try to draw the attention of the GC board concerning the quality of the 2020 GC certificate. It is very funny to see students collecting their certificate and found their names peeling off the paper. Some students cannot see their complete name because it peeled off already before arriving the sender. Is coming from an anonymous sender. This is something very, very important. I'm sure that those who are listening to us are actually listening to us. If by maybe next week Sunday we may have a subtopic on this issue to look at it from our also investigation. We have to investigate and get to see those who have the certificate of 2020 if it's a major concern.
Yeah,
I'm sure that it's a problem.
Yeah, the quality of the certificate printers from 2019 up to the present is quite different from what we used to have in the past. I don't know why the quality of the paper is really light. It's not like those our own certificate in the battle where the paper was really thick. The quality of the paper now is just like the slip, the quality of the ones they used to print slip with.
Okay.
So so it is really, I don't know what happens at the level.
Because you see the names are peeling off.
Yeah, it's actually
supposed to be durable.
Yeah, if you take it and you don't plastify it, it cannot be durable.
No, but he's saying that he arrived the center
when it's the name is already
peeled off.
No, maybe that one you can talk of maybe water touching it, but I'm talking of the durability. They are printed but the quality is really of low standard.
Okay, we'll check on that. We'll check on that. Hello, Jarvis. This is Max from Germany, one of our regular panelists and someone that contributes effectively in supporting some internally displaced persons, and also look at the fact that we must be able to build a nation positively. Max from Germany writes, hello, Jarvis. The MPs, members of parliament, are not already out there to explain to their constituencies this new decree. Each region can have its own system based on its own reality. The reality should be defined by different professionals associated in that area. We need to call upon MPs to work at least on this one decree. Greetings, Max. Max, thank you very much. Max, we are still waiting for the MPs to tell us about mobile money tax. We are still waiting for the MPs to actually come and explain to us some of the decrees that were taken that passed through the house. We are talking about decree that passed through the house. This one did not even pass through the house. So we are expecting a lot of those things to be done by the members of parliament. It's like they are still holidays. This one, right, it says happy Sunday to you, Mr. Jarvis, and the panelists. A very interesting topic. Keep the good work. I am Eden Viyuf, sorry for wrong pronunciation, writing from Halifax, Canada. Eden, sorry if I don't get your name correctly. I deeply apologize for not getting your name correctly. Please, Mr. Jarvis, I wish to have the contact of the publisher on the show. I am a young writer and I wish to be in contact with him. Thank you very much. At the end of the program, please do where to write me so that I will talk with him with his permission and see if I can give you his contact. This other one, right, it says the system is terrible. Says the system is terribly corrupt to the extent that officials sent out for inspection used it as a money-making network. Most of the students who graduate from private higher institutions are half-baked. Through the practicality. Though the practicality is not there, practicality is not there. Reading management at the university is a farce. A plantation cannot properly be managed only by an agri expert. A hospital can only be managed by a medical expert. So when one reads management, what is it the person is going to manage? I may not know, sir. Can it be explained to me?
You'll be managing your employment.
You guys
you can be managing your
expert now.
No, I think the
like
issue of
let me first of all thank Max, somebody like Max from Germany.
Yes.
I've just heard that he supporting IDP.
Yes, he's very regular in supporting IDP.
Those are the type of Cameroonian that when I hear about them, I'm very happy. Those that are creating impact, not those that will only sit, make noise and abuse the government. If you are in Germany and you are supporting the IDPs, it is part of nation building.
And he believes in positive change.
Yes, part of nation building. I want to say that you should continue that light, and that God will bless you and bless you more abundantly.
Yeah, you want to?
Yeah, I was saying that the issue of education in Cameroon will only be like this until the day because it's the government that defines the educational policies of the country, and nobody else does that. And until the day I think the late Teachers Trade Union president of I think it used to be Quentin Simon.
Yes, Simon
Quentin.
Yeah. He was, before his death, he was clamoring for an education forum in Cameroon. He was fighting that for long, but the government never listened to him. He even fought for the creation of the Higher Technical Teachers Training College in Bambili. So his idea was the government should come up with an education forum where we can sit and discuss and define the kind of education we want for this nation. Because the educational system of any country is just like a live wire of that country. And our educational system is plagued with a lot of problems that we need an education forum to really sit and define, because we cannot continue to study one and the same thing over the year, repeatedly over the year.
You have not answered his question. He's talking about management. He's talking that, for example, hospital can be well managed by. But I think that he's missing the point here, because the doctor is a professional in administering treatment.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the management student is charged with running the administration. Because the doctor is not the human resource of that hospital. So that's why you need a human resource expert.
No, but I think doctors are there's what they call public health. Doctors
they are
doctors of public health.
Yeah.
They are trained in management of all of
No, but he will not be that efficient.
Jarvis, it's still going to, if you are a management student and you don't know much about hospital and you are sent to hospitals, there are names of apparatus and names of medicine that they will call that you will not even understand.
Yes.
No, you are I agree with you. But we are looking at that is not from the professional perspective. We are looking at the administrative perspective now. Let's say whatever apparatus, but this person happens to do with the management of resources in terms of the hospital. Let's say you bought 50 whatever name of resources. Was it bought? Was it used for a purpose? The money that has been generated, is it being used like an accountant? So should we say that the accountant in hospitals must be doctors?
No, preferably they should be doctors.
Accountant in hospitals? Of
course, you can train a doctor, you do an accounting course.
So why did you train the doctor then? Is it not to administer patients? To work on patients?
Not only.
No, somebody who's a doctor and an accountant at the same time in the hospital will be far more better than somebody who's just an accountant.
Because he understands the implications of the system,
the terms and the everything of the hospital.
An accountant can be manipulated. They'll come and write
very good.
some kind of name that don't exist.
No, maybe this is a debate for next week, but I want to ask this question. Why is it that we are talking about proprietors here? Why is it that since the proliferation of, we are talking about 20 years plus, when higher education was liberalized, or close to 10 years or so, we have engineers who cannot construct roads. We have chemical engineers who cannot produce grenade or a locally made bomb. We have cyber security expert, software development expert who cannot produce a social media platform that we can use in Africa. What's wrong with us?
That's why we are saying that
even the issue of electricity.
That's what they are saying. That
like making us feel it's a rocket science.
That's why we are saying that most of these proprietors, their aim is the money, the school fees, and not because first of all they don't even have the infrastructure to carry out all these things. Yes, you hear somebody, Jemon back technique, please this, but who cannot even. He does not even know what he's doing.
Yeah.
So I think that most of these proprietors, they concentrate more on the theory rather than the practical, because believe with me, if you go to town, you discover that the best mechanics are those who did not go to school.
Obviously.
Yes, the best mechanics in towns are those who do not go to school, but we have those who have very big certificate.
Yeah, mechanical engineering. They cannot unscrew a
tire.
Yeah, that's a concern.
Yes. So sometimes I was telling one woman that instead of sending your child to go and do mechanical engineering in the secondary school, send the child to the garage, because by the time the child is 3 years in the garage, and even somebody with an advanced level in that chemical cannot compare with him. And that is why.
But the person being sent to school, you are a pedagogue. Yes. Is it just to learn the art, or to learn some other skills like working team, have a different mindset? Because if we are not discouraging.
We are not discouraging. We are not discouraging education. Yes. We are saying that once people are given, when people go to these professional schools, they should do more of practical than theory. Yes. Because people go there and concentrate on theory. Yeah. You hear somebody say, I'm a mechanical engineer, I'm an electrical engineer from so and so school, and who does not even know how it's common
I think the initial policy of even technical education in Cameroon was 30% of theory and 70% of practical.
Yes.
The present condition is just the reverse. It's just 70%,
yes.
Of, even about 80% of theory and 30% or 20% of practical, which cannot solve a problem. And the problem is the level of management of these schools also, because maybe the regional government should, as they have given them the powers to maybe manage resources of this school, equipments and the rest, they will really look into most of the workshops in our technical schools. Because if you are bet you go to most of these old technical schools around, the mechanical engineering department, they are using an engine of 1960 and a Peugeot engine of 1960 in 2023. Most of these, go there, you see.
And most of our vehicles are automatic vehicles.
And most of our vehicles are
meanwhile, we're in an era where we're talking of electric vehicles. We're talking about electric.
Yes.
So we're talking about electric. We are still talking about automatic.
Yes.
No, even we should not blame Africa and put it in a box. Other African countries are doing great. Morocco is already doing electric cars. Morocco, Tunisia are doing electric. Electric cars at the moment.
Schools are still using Peugeot 404.
Yeah, Peugeot 04 or 1960, and this is really a problem. And our carpentry workshops, we have to know that most of these curriculum were designed by the colonial masters and left, so that they should not help us. But other nations have wised up and they have changed these things. We have carpentry workshops in our school. If you go there and see the kind of machines that are there, some of them are not even functional. If you go to the kind of their electricity workshops, the kind of equipment you see there are not functional. It is really a problem. In my secondary school, in my high school of Kaskumba, we used to have a very beautiful lab. The government of Germany, the German government used to have some kind of support stuff they used to give to the Cameroon government. In equipping labs. But they had to stop it sometime. They used to train teachers to go and learn how to work with this equipment every year when they ship equipment to Cameroon. But our teacher who used to teach us, they told us that at one point in time, the ministry that used to be in charge of sending these teachers, they started sending teachers who were not even part of this subject. So when they sent them to Germany 1 year like that, before the German government had to stop, they sent some art teachers to go and learn how to work on science equipment. So when they went to the lab, they did an experiment and there was an explosion, and some of these people ran outside. That's why I always say that allowances shopping.
We should not say that the government is corrupt.
Yeah. So we are
corrupt.
Okay,
even if you go and bring somebody that hates CBDM to the core and give him a position,
but it's funny, what I'm saying is true.
He will see
what I'm saying is true. It's shocking if you go to any defense, be it the HND, the bachelors, the masters, the way parents attack members of that defense council is horrible.
Yes.
You hear parents who come out after their brothers have defended, will say they ask a lot of questions to as though is it not just an ordinary defense? Is it not just BHND? Why are they making like though? And these are the same parents who want to go out and have the best of service.
Yeah. As I was saying, the very thing was being done in technical school. If you go to GTHS Bamenda, GTHS Kumba, their workshops were being furnished by the Canadian government. But if I bet you, if you go there, most of those machines they put there, they have removed most of them and sold most of them. They have unfunctional labs. And I think we cannot talk of technical education without the technical workshops.
We're out of time. We want to thank you. Thank you for coming, Nick.
Thank you for having me, and we look forward to having most of these programs to enlighten policymakers to know that we are in a fast changing way. We're talking of artificial intelligence.
AI, why are you talking about AI? Thank you for coming.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me give my bosom friend again, Bamenda, Mr. Comfort Efficiency, who is watching us from Bamenda now. I say thank you to all the televiewers. It was been a very interesting program. Do that next week.
Yeah, our landscape is changing, but we are still at the level of as it was. So shall it be. So we are talking about AI, we are talking about cryptocurrency, we are talking about a lot of things, and we are still at Akimbo using Peugeot to it's kind of.
Yeah, but the government should stop functioning like the Bible.
We want to thank you for helping us. We want to thank you, Alan. We want to thank you, Desmond, Akeba, our producer for today's program. We want to thank all those who took our time to be part of this program, those who contributed, those who watch us on Facebook, Max from Germany. We want to thank you. We want to thank you also, Adine from Halifax, Canada, and all those who took our time to participate. This program comes to every Sunday at exactly 12 to 1:30 p.m. And in case you want to be a panelist, you want to be a member of our program, you want to discuss on pertinent issues as far as this program is concerned, you can contact me on the number on your screen. As of today and as of last week, you've observed that My Media Prime is streaming on Facebook on BT Media Group. So if you want to get more programs live, you can go to BT Media Group on our Facebook page where we stream. We have two Facebook pages. We have BT Media Group, we have My Media Prime. And so you want to get live programs, you can now, from now henceforth, go to BT Media Group on Facebook, and our YouTube channel is BT Media Group. You can get to our YouTube channel. Our Twitter handle is My Media Prime Television. I'll leave you with these: no matter the matter, what matters is still matter. And what should matter is that we should fight corruption at our level before looking at the future, because there cannot be a better society without better people. We must be that better people for a better society. Bye-bye.
Welcome to a new world of TV broadcasting.